Appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, when the College Football Hall of Famer calls, you leave your man cave and come here and get to work. So it's been an honor to be here. I played in this great state at Western Carolina University with Lonnie Galloway. I met my wife, Jennifer, of 28 years in this great state. Was able to coach 4 years at my alma mater for 4 years, and then the experiences that I've had being in the ACC for as long as I have, always had a tremendous amount of respect for this place, for this university, for the football program, and having gotten to know Coach Mack for the last 7 years. When I was the head coach at Temple, he would call games, and I got to know him. And then being in the ACC meetings together and the head coaches meetings, and then him being a mentor to me has been a special experience. And for him to call and offer me the chance to be the defense coordinator for him at this place, I do not take this responsibility lightly. I feel very honored to be in this position, and thankful to him, his wife Sally, for this amazing opportunity. So with that, Jeremy, questions? Okay.
So when you have your conversation with Mac and you're starting to get down to brass tacks, what are some of the things he told you that just had to change here?
Well, I think the film study that I've been able to do over the last year, when this opportunity started to come about after the bowl game, I watched every single game over the year, a couple of times, and just I've known Coach Chizik for a while, have a tremendous amount of respect for him. Actually, a couple of days ago, he sent me a very nice text, so I've got the utmost respect for him and appreciation for him. But just some things that we went through the interview process, playing a lot of guys, creating chaos from our perspective without being chaotic internally matters to me, and letting the players play fast, let them play free, and those kind of things I expressed to the defense when I talked to them on Tuesday. And I was also able to watch the returning players. There's some really good players on this roster, and then in the bowl game you got to see a lot of the younger guys get their chance to play. Then I did deep dives into their high school tape and even the transfers, their tape as well. So it's just very excited to get to work with them.
I should have identified myself. Andrew Jones, Tar Heel Illustrated.
Thank you.
Geoff, how long did it take you? Did you go through the whole season, like breaking down the cut-ups and everything?
So as far as this place or in general? Well,
whatever.
Yeah, so,
want to go with.
So I explored a lot of different opportunities in this past year. One of the best things is getting to spend so much time with my wife and my 7-year-old daughter. That has been absolutely amazing. But to kick off the season, as we're exploring opportunities, whether it be media or whatever else, we went to support a couple of our buddies on the very first weekend of college football. And my wife kind of looked at me, and as I'm on the field for pregame warm-ups, and she saw that look in my eye, and she's like, okay, we're probably going to end up getting back into this thing by the end of the season. But then going through the season, doing some consulting work, having access to all the tape, college tape, NFL tape, doing some consulting work, just studying the trends in college football, seeing the things defensively that are, coming from the NFL and then from college back to it. It's excited me. One of the things that I've missed the most, being a head coach is awesome, but I genuinely miss being a play caller and standing in front of a defense and calling plays on college football Saturdays, and to have this opportunity to do it for Coach Brown is truly an honor.
Just to follow up, where was that opening weekend? Where were you at?
I was at Central Michigan to support Jim McElwain, Central Michigan versus Michigan State. And then the next day I was in the big house seeing East Carolina play Michigan, and just being on the field for both those games. They were going pretty strong, and I kind of knew that I was gonna the media career, Jeremy, was going to be short-lived, and I was going to be back on the grass and coaching, when the season ended. And then just the amount of respect I have for Coach Brown, and this opportunity presented itself. No Charlton Warren. I tried to hire Charlton Warren to be a part of my defensive staff twice before. Coach Thigpen, I'd recruited against in the SEC and always known what a tremendous recruiter is and what a tremendous person he is. Same thing with Jason Jones. Recruited against him, coached against him in a couple of Egg Bowls, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and then gotten to know Coach Ted has been an honor. So part of the process too, on the Zoom, even though I was being interviewed, I was interviewing too. Because one of the biggest pieces for me is I want to be around really good people that are in the game for the right reasons to positively impact the players, play great defense, have a collaborative effort. And on those Zoom calls, you could just feel the sense of ownership that the guys had, the pride that they had. And then I got to spend the first day out recruiting, I was with Ted the entire day and just shared philosophies, shared experiences, the way to treat people and to care about your players and to coach your players. That was great, and got to meet his wife, Amy, this weekend as well. So the people matter to me. Patrick Suddas, who's the general manager here, he and I have been close friends, I think now for 16, 17 years, and obviously playing with Lonnie, that familiarity with him is huge too. And then Chip Lindsey, he and I go way back. He was a high school coach at Spain Park, and I followed his career. I've always thought the world of him and him being on the staff too, all of those pieces, including it, but especially Coach Brown made this move, something we're really excited about.
Patrick worked for you, correct?
He did. He was with me, but we were together at Alabama, Coach Saban's first year, and then have remained close friends ever since. And then we were together for 3 years. He was my general manager there as well, and I think the world of him.
Coach, Tommy Ashley from Inside Carolina, when you're watching breaking down Carolina
Sure.
film, and you sort of eyeball specific players, and you think about the system that you've always used or
Sure.
had, what have you seen that sort of blends with that?
Yeah.
What can you continue to do? What
Sure.
maybe you have to shift?
Well, one of the biggest things is the terminology piece. Trying to salvage as much terminology as possibly can, and that's why having the coaches being able to translate, because it's, whether you run a 3-4, 4-3, middle field open, middle field close, the terminology is the learning curve for the guys. And I've gone and transitioned before where we tried to, keep a lot of the terminology, especially its techniques and fundamental things. So having that piece will be huge. But the thing that I'm excited about is the piece that you always want to make sure you have is the defensive line. And I think we've got a lot of good defensive linemen returning. And, I would be remiss to start spouting off names because I do not want to leave anybody off during the introductory. But there's some really good players that we have returning, and, excited about the new guys that are coming in as well.
Hey, Geoff, Pat Walter from WRAL News. What do you, when you think about the defense, what do you think when you watched all that film?
Yep.
Mac described you as fiery and that
Sure.
you like to attack. So what does that look like to you with this roster that you see?
Yeah, I think it's just being aggressive on early downs. One of the biggest pieces is, you want to get people into advantageous situations for the defense and creating third and longs. That's where most of the turnovers in college football happen. So being aggressive and multiple on early downs, the terminology and the way we call things make it be very easy for our players to learn so that they can play fast, live in the backfield, and cut them loose, then rotate guys in to create depth. So in case you do ever have a run of injuries, you have guys that have experience, and kind of done that, my entire career, played a lot of guys, and those kind of things kind of give you confidence in being able to do that. So it's an aggressive nature, it's an aggressive mindset that we have in the building, and I think the guys got to experience that in the first defensive unit meeting the other night, trying to be a lot more tame in front of you guys in the introductory press conference, but you guys will get to see me on the grass and with the fellas, but we're gonna, again, create chaos without being chaotic. Let them get their feet set, let them get the call, let them play fast and aggressive and have confidence in what they're doing and how they're doing it. I think that all works together.
So what did you do at that meeting? Were you challenging guys? Were you just rallying them up?
Just explaining, kind of the arc of my career, the arc of my defense has shown them the success that I've been able to have as a play caller, and the players that have helped me do that as well. And just the graphic that I showed the guys of the guys that I have coached that are, household names in the NFL. And that's the expectation, that's the standard that I see when I'm coaching you guys as well. And so I think those kind of things, when it can be reinforced that you've had success as a play caller, as a builder of defenses, and then the players have had success playing in your system. I think it accelerates the buy-in and, just the initial vibe and the feel in the room. It was really good.
You mentioned obviously, wanting to play a lot of guys,
Sure.
wanting the defense to
Yep.
get a lot of guys in there. I guess kind of at your different stops and things like that, what's kind of during the flow of a game, how do you go about kind of doing that intentionally? I know that sometimes the conversation here is about, maybe it's the linebackers don't, rotate enough.
Sure.
During the flow of a game, how do you kind of go about doing that intentionally?
So it's not during the flow of the game, it's during the week of practice. So everything that we do is graded, everything is transparent with the guys in the room. On Thursday, we'll have a meeting, and I talked about this during the interview process. On Thursdays, we'll have a meeting called Playing the Players. So I'll ask Coach Ted, I'll ask Coach Jones, how are you going to play your position throughout the course of the game? So we will have those conversations on Thursday. How many snaps we think they're going to get, what situations in the game are they going to play, those kind of things. And that's how we've done it pretty much ever since I was at Mississippi State, and it's been good for us. And so we'll continue that process. And there's certain times of the game, especially at certain positions, especially the D line, I need to know which D linemen, which D tackles are in the game, and that'll affect how I call certain stunts or certain pressures, whatever else, throughout the course of it. But we have those conversations on Thursday. It's called Playing the Players. And I think the more players that you can play, it helps you further down the line as you get into the season as well.
How much does having been a head coach, including at two different places, so you've been a big part of offensive game planning, how much does that help you now that you're getting back in solely as a defensive coordinator, so you know how the offensive world works a little bit more?
Yeah, being in those meetings has been invaluable. Even this year, when I've had a unique perspective to kind of look at the game from kind of an outsider's perspective, has been huge too. And I think I wrote these 4 principles down that just keep showing that up as I watch ball in the NFL or in college, is obviously be strong up the middle, have the ability to set edges. In this day and age, you cannot allow easy access throws because everything's an RPO, everything's quick, get the ball out. So denying easy access throws and then affecting the quarterback. So we have to build the system and put the players in position to do those 4 things on every snap. So those are the things that take away throughout the year, that I've kind of honed in on.
Geoff, was it Andrew Thacker that was your DC?
He was.
Okay, 2 questions. The question might be a little chaotic. But did you call the defensive plays when you were the head coach, or was that Andrew's job? And also, when you were at Tech, just what was your opinion of the UNC teams that you played as you game planned for them? I know that was like when Jay Bateman was here. Just like, what did you all pick out, from UNC defensively that you thought you could exploit? Right.
Andrew Thacker, tremendous young coach. Actually, he was at Furman University when I was the defense coordinator at Western. His stepfather is one of my high school coaches, so I've had a long relationship with him. The first 2 years at Temple, when I was the head coach, heavily involved with the defense. The first year at the last place, heavily involved. And then Coach Matt brought it up earlier. During COVID and the subsequent year after that, became less involved. There were other overarching things that I had to worry about as a head coach. But I think Thack does a tremendous job. And but I'd say the first 3 years of a head coach was far more involved defensively than I might have been the last couple. So.
In your opinion of UNC?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
So just distinct, I think they've loved Coach Brown, loved the program. Obviously, Coach already talked about how explosive we've been here offensively. and dynamic. And I just remember the size, and I told this to Des Evans. I still remember us being in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and him being the stand-up outside backer jack into the boundary. And I'm like, this is what our guys are supposed to look like. And now I get to coach him, you know. So big physical defensive line, long athletic on the back end, and you know. But I'm excited to get to work with these guys.
Geoff, Evan Rogers in South Carolina, you talked about studying just film and football.
Yep.
Obviously, it's been a while since you've just been solely defensive coordinator. When you look at how much offenses have changed and evolved, have you in a way had to maybe alter your philosophy a little bit in some ways?
No, I think just the biggest piece is denying easy access on the back end is huge. And then affecting the quarterback, finding ways, whether it be in the initial disguise, the post-snap rotation, the pressure packages that you use to get after the quarterback, stemming the fronts pre-snap, those kind of things we'll utilize. I don't want to say too much about what we're going to do, because there's, you know, for the first couple games, there's going to be a little unknown factor that, Jeremy, I think we want to save that as much as we can. But just affecting the quarterback and not letting them have easy access throws will be a huge part of what we do.
Geoff, I know you obviously have had a chance to meet with the entire defense. Have there been any, I guess maybe some of the returning veterans that you've had a chance to meet one-on-one with?
Sure.
I know obviously Power Up was kind of in that linebacker
Yep.
group, was kind of the
Yep.
lead guy there. Have there been any guys you've been able to chat with?
Right. So I'll take it back even a little bit further than this isn't on defense, but the first person I called and FaceTimed was Nate McCullum. So they sent out a Teamworks to the team before they announced it to you guys, and Nate sends me an immediate text. Again, I'll save that between us. I screenshotted it, you know, to keep it in my heart. But I FaceTimed him before I even called my mom and my in-laws. I called Nate McCullum and had a FaceTime with him. And then I don't know if it was, I'll have to check the timestamp, but Rucker, number 25, hits me up within the first 30 minutes, and we get on the phone and we talk and start having conversations. He's come in and watched film. Powers come in and watched film. Long conversations with them. Obviously, us getting on the road, you know, recruiting, you know, throws a little, you know, wrench in there, but we will continue to build those relationships. But, you know, those two guys were the first ones. And then two, you know, they jump off of the tape. When you turn that thing on, 25 and 23, really good players.
And then was there a particular message you kind of had for them, you know, kind of the fact that they are veterans and anything like that? Like in the conversations you had, like, was there, I guess, kind of a particular message you had?
Yeah, just the expectation that we have, the standard that we have philosophically on defense, the leadership positions that they're already in within the organization, but also the things that we need them to do, you know, with the guys moving forward and the work ethic and all those kind of things, you know, empowering them to make sure they step up and, you know, set the standard, uphold the standard, and those kind of things.
On the recruiting side,
Yep.
guys want to get their, quote-unquote, their players in. What does that mean for Geoff Collins as far as when you're out on the trail looking for certain types that fit your style?
Yeah, and again, that relationship that I have with Patrick Suddas, it is huge. He knows the types of guys that we want in the program. And then Coach Brown is one of the best recruiters in the history of college football. And, you know, so just long, athletic guys that go out there and make plays and fly around. And I think one of the biggest things, too, is building the defense around the players that you have. Because if you watch the defenses that we had at Temple, or the defenses that we had at Florida, or the defenses that we had at Mississippi State, schematically, they all were not the same. But it was based on the players that we had in the system and what we could do, you know, with those guys. And it'll be the same process that we'll go here. I've got all the defensive coaches and the recruiting staff, you know, regardless of position, just rank the players 1 through 25. However you view that, and then the challenge for me will be based on whether it's 11 personnel or 12 personnel, nickel, base, whatever, is putting the best players out there on the field to affect the game. So we'll go through that process over the next 3 to 4 weeks, just building the system around the players, but just the philosophy of creating chaos, creating mayhem, getting sacks, tackles for loss, PBUs, creating turnovers, those kind of things will filter into all of those schematic decisions.
Geoff, is it a 4-2-5 base?
Is, yes.
Okay.
But if you look at what we did at Mississippi State and at Temple, it was a lot more overhang, sandbacker, nickel. When we were at Florida, it was a more middle field closed, man-free type of nickel. So it just depends on, the guys that we have, and we're able to be multiple throughout, but as long as the overarching principles are in place, we'll be good.
And how close maybe were you to taking another job? It sounds like per Matt that people were hitting you up a lot. Like how close did you think about some other places?
There were some things, but I'll keep those. I am so happy to be here. One of the biggest things too is the self-reflection piece, and the things that I was looking for. And a lot is the development of me as a coach. And you get to work for somebody who's the 7th all-time winningest coach in college football. See that as a growth opportunity as well, to learn from somebody like Coach Brown, was very attractive to me as well.
Geoff, Art Chansky, Chapel Mini Group.
Yes, sir.
Building depth has always been a problem,
Okay.
especially toward the end of the season. And I'd say about the ACC, most ACC schools have good players, not enough of them.
Okay.
So after Minnesota, you get 3 games that you should win. What's the balance between getting guys who may not be ready into those games so they could be ready as the season
Well, I
goes
think-
on versus...
Sure, and I think Coach Mack talked about it, is we have so many guys that are here right now that are part of this new wave of players. So it's 15 practices in spring ball, getting to do the extra work that the NCAA has allowed us to do in the offseason with those guys to get them ready to play. And then, preseason camp, all those kind of things, just the experiences of playing a lot of guys, having the way we term things in a simple, packaged manner so they can digest it and then go out there and play fast. I think that helps young players. When you have a lot of verbiage, a lot of different terms that aren't built in families, I think that is harder for young guys especially to learn. But the way we package things is set so they can play fast, get on the field early, and go out there and make plays and play free.
Will you play guys who normally you wouldn't play because they're not ready early in the season to try and get them ready?
They have to be ready, to step on the field. We got a brand and a program that we've got to play really good defense for. But it's our job as coaches to get them ready so they can go out there and play at a high level.
You guys good?
Correct.
All righty.
Appreciate it, guys.